as I'm stepping into adulthood and as I'm discovering myself and discovering things that I like, things that I want to pursue, I'm realizing more and more that I cannot rely on people who I used to rely on in the past to make decisions for me. A lot of us used to rely on parents' advice, teachers and mentors. A lot of us used to rely on friends. And though it's never unwise to seek counsel, if you're ever unsure about something, it's always good to get a second opinion. But ultimately, we need to trust ourselves enough and trust our inner voice enough to be like, I want to make this decision, and I don't want to just make this out of the blue. I have an intuition feeling to make this decision for myself because that's what's going to be good for me. And I wanted to make this episode about doing what we need to do for ourselves despite what others may think about it. A lot of the times we make a decision, like a lot of people talk about how they're afraid to start posting content. And it's mainly just because, well, what if other people say something? What if other people perceive me in this way? Or what if other people start thinking this of me? And so a lot of the times when we're trying to pursue a big idea that doesn't make sense to other people, the first thing we think of is, what is other people going to think about this? And I think that's the most debilitating thought ever that we can have, because it tells us that how you feel about yourself and what I believe is good for myself isn't enough, and I need to search for validation outside of myself. And when God creates us, He creates us with all the validation we need. We have all the love that we need, all the joy that we need, all the abundance that we need. And so seeking validation from anything or any source outside of yourself and God is purely based off of insecurity. And so when we seek validation and we operate in that spirit of insecurity, we stop ourselves from doing the things we need to do because we care so much about what other people think. And it's super cliche to be like, well, don't care about what other people think or do stuff despite what other people think. And it's just this cliche saying that people always say. But the truth is, always focusing on what other people are going to say, what other people are going to think, how other people are going to perceive you is the main cause to you not starting that business, to you not starting to create that content, to you not applying for that job, to you not getting the things you need. This is the main thing that stops us. And that's exactly why. Hey guys, if you've been following up with me, you would know that I've been in a wilderness season, and I've been documenting my season as well as how I overcame it and stepped into my Job blessing. I just came out with an ebook that God led me to create, detailing everything that I went through. Check it out in the link in my bio if you're interested. Love you all. For university, I decided not to stay in my hometown and decided to move 4 hours away to a whole nother city, literally on the border of another country, because I was like, I cannot stay in this city because every decision I make, I'm going to think about what other people have to say. And when you're in your hometown, everybody knows everybody. So it's like word will get around. And when you're in a whole nother city, it's just like you will find that strangers are the ones that support you the most. And there's a new type of vision that you have when you're in a new environment, when you're in a new territory. And so we need to make those decisions for ourselves. And even if we have that thought of well, maybe this is the wrong decision, let it be the wrong decision. We serve a God that is faithful enough to guide us right back on the right path when we make a wrong decision. We are human. We are going to make mistakes. There's not every single decision you make can't be perfect. There was, for example, I was working a job. I really hated it. I was really tired. I was like, you know what? It's time for me to go. I'm entering this new grade at the time. And I'm like, it's just going to be too busy. And I did not consult with God at all. Now I think about it, I didn't even consult with Him at all. I just left the job. And years down the line, I realized that I left the job too early. I didn't leave in peace. I didn't leave the job consulting God. And so the aftermath of that ended up affecting me a lot. And it ended up being a big lesson for me. And so though I was mad at myself for making the wrong decision, ultimately it led me to this season, which was a very humbling season, but it taught me so much. It taught me how to love. It taught me how to be grateful. It taught me how to appreciate what I do have. It taught me complete financial literacy. And so where we think one thing that we did as limited human beings could screw God's whole plan for our lives, God quickly turns that around and says, yeah, you screwed up on that part, but that was just a detour. You as a human can't ruin what I've ordained for you. So you can take that detour, but I'm just going to lead you right back on the path that I have for your life. And so if you're afraid of making a mistake, know that no matter what you do, you're going to always end up back on the path that God has for your life, as long as you acknowledge those mistakes and repent, which means to turn away from and no longer do those things. And so I encourage you today, let's say you want to move out. Make that change. Don't consult people, especially people don't support you. Don't consult them on what you should do. Let's say you want to buy that car or buy that thing you've been saving up for. Consult with God. That's the only person you should be having a conversation with, and take that step. If you feel like you need an extra opinion, go to trusted people. If you have no more trusted people, then you have to learn to trust yourself. But make that step, because that was one of the best decisions that I could have ever made for myself, was getting out of that familiar environment and being uncomfortable. Because in that state of being uncomfortable, it led to my greatest successes. It completely propelled me. I moved faster than I have ever moved in my years and years of living in my hometown. A week of being in a new place completely put me in a whole nother tax bracket, changed the trajectory of my life, because it was one decision that I chose to make and that I chose to be obedient on. And that could be your story too. You deserve to have that dream life that you want for yourself, but you're one decision away. And so do what you need to do for yourself, despite what other people might think.